good afternoon, everybody. I think that video stopped short. It is such a pleasure to be here with all of you today in Clay County. I'm based at our headquarters down in Juno Beach, but I just wanted to briefly introduce some of my colleagues who are nice enough to join me here today. Hopefully many of you know Jim Bush, who's the External Affairs Area Manager here for this area. Thomas Bean, who's our Director of Community Engagement. Larry Volnick, Regional Area Manager for External Affairs. Crystal Stiles, Director of Economic Development. And Jeff West with our FPL Project Development. These are the team that really represent this area for our company up here. And so thank you all for being here to join us today. I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about who we are and what we're doing as a company for our customers. But I want to start by saying that FPL is a technology company that provides clean, affordable, reliable power to our customers. So I want you to think about that. We're a technology company that provides affordable, clean, reliable power to our customers. And I say that because I think it's important, because I think it's how we think of ourselves that really drives the culture at our company and has really made us very forward-thinking and innovative. So I want to share some of that with you today. Just to give you an example, just recently Fortune named our company one of the top 25 global companies in the world that is changing the world. So that just gives you kind of a perspective of how we see the world and how we're approaching delivering energy to our customers. So I guess I'll start, because I know here in Clay County, many of you don't know FPL, many of you are not our customers. So I'll just give you a high-level view of really who we are. Our parent company is NextEra Energy. It trades on the stock exchange as NEE. And we are the world's largest utility. We have a market cap of $75 billion. And we're made up of two companies, Florida Power and Light Company, that's rate regulated here in Florida, and then our sister company, NextEra Energy Resources, which does primarily wind and solar. We're also the largest producer of renewable energy from the wind and the sun in the country. That company operates in 33 states and Canada, and combined we make up NextEra Energy. We're also one of the country's largest investors of capital. So we are making large investments both here in Florida and outside of Florida to the tune of $40 billion between now and the end of 2020. So let me bring it down to Florida. And as I mentioned, I know we are just actually, FPL is one of 4 providers here in Clay County. We share this area with our colleagues JEA, Clay Electric, and Green Cove Springs. But actually, in my bio it said we're the nation's 3rd largest utility. FPL now is the country's largest utility. That means we're also the largest utility here in Florida. There's actually 55 electric utilities here in Florida. So that's, we cover a lot of territory. And you can see we start at the very southern part of the state, go all the way up to the Georgia border, and then some of the West Coast. So we actually serve customers in 35 counties. We're also one of the largest employers in the state with 9,000 employees at FPL. We have another 4,000 employees that work for NextEra Energy Resources, and we're all headquartered down in Palm Beach County in Juno Beach. So I wanted to kick off today talking a little bit about why our company has put a huge focus on economic development and why we think it's so important. You know, I think we recognized several years ago that we as a company have the ability to really be at the table and help lure good businesses to Florida that provide good, high-quality jobs. So about 7 years ago, when we created the Office of Economic Development, we sought approval from the Public Service Commission to offer discounted rates that we thought, particularly at that time back in 2011, was important to really show the world that Florida was open for business. We wanted to show that we could be a corporate partner, and for many businesses, their electric bills are one of the biggest charges every month and one of their biggest costs. So we did that as a way to bring them to Florida to see all that Florida had to offer. What we also realized is that we had the ability to be a really good partner, and we wanted to be a good partner in all of our communities. And so we have a very small team led by Crystal, but that team not only implemented the discount rates, but worked very hard to create some really effective website tools on our website, poweringflorida.com. And that did two things. It opened up the eyes of site selectors from around the world. We get thousands of hits every month that really identifies not just the communities in our service territory, but everywhere in Florida. You can click on there at the city level or the county level, and it's a one-stop shop for a lot of demographic information that helps site selectors realize that this community might be a good fit for their clients that they're trying to move to a better location. The other part of this website is designed for the local economic development organizations. Crystal and her team travel around, they train community leaders, they train the economic developers. It's a password-protected environment, but they can go in and get information they can't get anywhere else to help them create their own tailored strategy for what would work best in their community to grow business in that particular region. So we've had thousands of hits, we get a lot of attention for this, and it's a way that we can really engage. But you know, we also found that we could bring a lot to the table just by the relationships that we have as a company. We work with thousands of vendors. We do over $1 billion worth of business every year. And we realized that we could leverage those relationships to expose these companies that we work with to all the benefits that Florida has to offer. Many vendors were their biggest customer. So we've had some really great successes, and you know, over the last 7 years, we've actually really helped 152 companies either grow here and expand with new jobs or relocate to Florida. And that has been the equivalent of creating more than 29,000 jobs. Just to give you a couple of examples, there's a company called S&C, and they were headquartered up in Pennsylvania, I think, and they make lateral switches for transmission facilities. And we're their biggest customer. And we asked them, why not Florida? Because they needed to expand. And so they set up shop, they set up their headquarters in Palm Beach County, brought 450 very high quality jobs to that county, and they were very happy because they're right down the street from where we are. Another great example is Jinko Solar. Hopefully many of you have heard about the great success. We worked very collaboratively. Jax USA did a tremendous job rolling out the red carpet, Mayor Lenny Curry, to expose Jinko to what a great area this is to locate the first solar manufacturing facility of that size here in Florida. It really put the foundation in the ground to grow Florida in the solar industry. Florida wasn't even on the map for Jinko when they first started. We're their biggest customer. We called them up and said, we'd really like to continue to be your biggest customer, but we really want you in Florida. So working so collaboratively at the ground level with Jax USA and truthfully all the surrounding counties made the difference. And so we're very excited that that company has come to Northern Florida. And you know, we're not stopping there. Crystal and her team, they've got more than 35 active projects, and these are worth thousands of jobs. So they're working hard every day all over the state, not just in our service territory, by the way, because we believe that when good companies come to Florida, wherever they are, even though we're not the ones serving them, like Jinko, by the way, that's good for Florida. And if there are more people that are taking on higher quality jobs, everybody's going to benefit. So that's been our philosophy, and we hope that it will continue to help Florida in a really positive way. So now I want to talk a little bit about the fun stuff. I want to talk a little bit. I'll let this play. So those are just a few of the demolitions that we undertook as part of our modernization strategy. It was really a long-term vision that we had about 12 to 15 years ago that we wanted to be a clean company. It was before the natural gas evolution started, but we realized that we needed to have a clean system. We knew how expensive it was to run these older oil burning plants. And so we systematically started converting our older plants to clean burning, American-made natural gas. We've also, as part of that, started buying interest in coal plants here in Florida, and at the same time demolishing those. That has been such a huge win for our customers and for the communities. As we rebuild the plants, starting with Cape Canaveral that you saw there on the slide, first of all, the air is 35% cleaner than the plant that was there before from an emissions perspective. It was also a much more efficient plant. So we were able to reduce the amount of fuel needed to run each of those plants to the tune of about 30%. And natural gas is a lot less expensive. So at the end of the day, over the last 15 years, we've been able to significantly reduce our reliance on oil. You can see there back in 2001, we were the largest purchaser of oil in the country, Florida Power and Light. We needed to run them for our fleet. Florida was a growing state. As we've gone through the modernization process, we have reduced that use of oil. So now we burn less than 1 million barrels a year. It's a 98% reduction. And the only reason we have to burn that much is because we're required to, because we have to have a backup. So that has been a huge savings for our customers to the tune of more than $9 billion over that 15-year period has been money that has stayed in our customers' pockets. That is really good news for our customers. Plus, on top of it all, those new assets, when they go in the ground, create a tremendous boost in tax base in each of those communities for the local communities that benefits everything surrounding, whether it's schools, government costs. So that's been a huge win, not to mention the hundreds of jobs that were created by these newly constructed plants. So you can see here that the result of our efforts has made FPL one of the cleanest utilities in the country. In fact, we're 30% cleaner than the national average, which is pretty dramatic. You can see we've never been a huge burner of coal, but we've reduced that almost nothing. And we hope that we will actually have that little piece of the pie that says coal down to 0 in the very near future. And that's been a real win for Florida. I think part of the vision was that Florida, as we grow as a business, we also realize that tourism is always going to be part of our economy. And nobody wants to come to Florida and have tar on their beaches or smoggy air. And so this clean effort has really been undertaken to accomplish that. And it takes a long-term vision. This isn't something that has been accomplished in a day. So I mentioned that our company is a technology company that is affordable, reliable, and clean. And so I just talked about our process for how we've become a very clean company, but we've also had a huge focus on reliability. And over the last 10 years, we've invested over $3 billion to harden our system, to make it more resilient so that it could react better and respond better, whether it's a hurricane or just a typical weather event. And the ways we've done this is we've invested a lot in hardening the infrastructure, which means taking out the old wooden poles and putting in stronger concrete poles. And we had a perfect test case last year with Hurricane Irma. We were able to prove that our system performed dramatically better than it did 10 years earlier with Hurricane Wilma. We've also been a lot more aggressive with pole inspections and with vegetation clearing because that causes a lot of outages, even in just temporary weather events. But the other thing we've done is we've made big investments in smart technology. Every customer has a smart meter, and we also put over 90,000 smart devices on our transmission grid. And these have dramatically helped with reliability. First of all, we're able to see oftentimes if outages are going to occur, and we're able to prevent them in advance. That's the best case scenario. Secondly, when outages do happen, we're able to detect them much more quickly, identify the problem, and get that line restored much more quickly. What we know about our customers is that they really care and expect that the lights are going to come on when they flip that switch. And so that is something that we've been very focused on. So that's been really our secret sauce. We have invested heavily in making our system clean and as reliable as possible. We're actually in the top decile in the country in terms of reliability performance. But really the best part of it all is that we've been able to continue to drive costs down, and our bills today are lower than they were in 2006. So we've been able to make these investments and keep our bills low. In fact, our bills are lower than, we're 30% below the national average, and we are among the lowest and have been pretty much the lowest in Florida for the last 12 years. So this has been kind of our strategy and our vision, and the way we kind of look at how we're moving to the future. And we've done that by investing in technology, thinking ahead, not doing things just because it was the easy path. You know, an example we often give is as we were going through the modernization process, we were challenged through the approval processes. And those that opposed us, when we said, how could you fight cheaper, cleaner jobs? They said, well, we just don't think you should do it now. You just shouldn't do it now. But you know, the results are lower bills, cleaner air, jobs, and better reliability. So we think we've made good decisions. But you're probably wondering, what are you going to do now? Because we are forward thinking and we're always thinking about what we should be doing next. And we're actually extremely excited because this is what is happening right now. Primarily because of the efforts of FPL. Florida is in the midst of one of the largest expansions in U.S. history for solar. And we have been actively investing and very aggressively investing in solar for the past few years, and we're not going to slow down. Currently, Florida is ranked 6th in the country in terms of total capacity installed for solar. Number 6 isn't bad, but I can tell you that we are going to keep growing. And in fact, in the first quarter of 2018, Florida was growing at the fastest rate of any other state in the country except California. So we think that it is a very smart investment for our customers, and we hope to keep looking to do that in a very smart way because all of this benefits our customers. The video up there that you saw was a sped up video of the construction process, and it was of the Babcock Ranch project down in Southwest Florida. We build these projects at about 75 megawatts in size, and they take about 9 months to a year to construct. And we partnered with Kitson and Partners during that project, and they actually donated the land to us. The first few projects, as you can see here, came online rather slowly because we will only build the projects if they make sense for our customers. So the way we kind of got into this process was back in 2009. We built our first photovoltaic site in DeSoto County. And it was only 25 megawatts, but at the time it was the largest photovoltaic site in the country. And the only reason we built it was because the legislature gave us the approval to, because at the time it was so much more expensive that by law we can't build something that is not the least cost that makes the most sense for our customers. But the Public Service Commission saw value in having a test case, limiting what we could do, but allowing us to test it. And boy, did we learn a lot from that project. We learned a lot about the site layout, how to really drive down construction costs, what we needed to do to make it as efficient as possible, what kind of panels worked, all sorts of things to learn how to continue to drive costs so that we would actually build solar projects that made the most economic sense for our customers. And you can see from this graph that as we ramped up, 2016 was the big year. And that was the year that we installed 3 75 megawatt projects because they were the first 3 projects that made economic sense for our customers, meaning that their cost to build and run saved money as compared to an existing fuel burning plant. So from that point, from 2016, our solar strategy became very robust. We can't just go out and plop down a solar facility anywhere. There's a lot of factors that go into the analysis to make sure these projects make sense for our customers and are at a cost that we can make sure that it's good for our customers. But you can see within 2 years, we almost tripled the amount of solar here in Florida. We currently have 935 megawatts generating now. And in 2016, those first 3 came online that were cost effective. But by 2019, we are going to have 5 million panels operating here in Florida, serving our customers clean energy. And guess what? In 2021, we're going to have 10 million panels installed, generating clean, affordable solar energy for our customers. So this just gives you a little layout of where everything is today. We actually have 14 solar plants operating today, and they're scattered throughout the state, and we find that that's very beneficial. 75 megawatts takes about 400 acres, give or take. So it takes a large swath of property, but we like that size because we find that there's value in having them located around the state in different areas. You know, cloud cover, solar intensity, all of these things are very variable and they change from day to day. And so by spreading them out, we feel that it's better for our overall grid and it's good to have them throughout the state. We have 4 more that are coming online in just a few months at the beginning of 2019. And when that's complete, those 18 sites will be generating solar energy that will serve the equivalent of 250,000 homes, give or take. So that is starting to really grow at a very aggressive organic rate, and we're very excited about it. This is also an aerial view of a site that we just completed. It's the Horizon Solar Energy Center, and it's the one that's in operation now just south of here. It straddles Alachua and Putnam County. And you can see, you know, how every site is laid out differently. We love to keep them as contained as possible, but we're also very sensitive about working around environmentally sensitive lands, and we also are looking at where we can get the best capabilities as far as capturing the sun. Oftentimes we use what we call a fixed system, where the panels don't move. Sometimes we use panels that are tracking. Again, it all depends on where the site is and how our engineers figure out what's the most productive. But for every one of these 75 megawatt sites, it's the equivalent of taking 12,000 cars off the road from a carbon emissions perspective. So that just gives you another parameter of, you know, the good things that these plants are doing. But you know, when we talk about being innovative, it doesn't always have to involve computers or data or gadgets. And when I talked about the learnings from one of our first projects in DeSoto, what we realized was our biggest cost in operating that plant was the grass and the mowing. When we first started operating that plant, we were out there with the mowers. And you know how Florida is, you're mowing every week. So we tried all sorts of things to figure out how to reduce that cost. We tried the perennial peanut, we tried robotic mowers, and guess what? We found out that our best tool to keep that grass low was our friends, the sheep. And they cohabitate beautifully. We found goats like to jump up on the panels, so that wasn't good. But the sheep are very passive, they're very happy, and they've done an awesome job of keeping the grass cut. So they have become our best partner and a great way to keep our costs down for these plants. One thing also is that we happen to be really great neighbors. For any of you who get annoyed with the loud music with your next door neighbor, or the loud teenagers, you know, playing music, or barking dogs, we are virtually silent. Our solar plants are virtually silent, and you don't hear anything. We also don't need lights at night, and other than the construction period, there's not a lot of traffic. So those are all really good qualities in a neighbor, we think. Another benefit is that we don't need to draw on natural resources. We don't need fuel, we don't need water, we just need the sunlight, and hopefully it comes out a lot here in Florida. The other thing is these panels actually sit pretty low to the ground. They're, you know, they're maybe 6 feet high, and so from a visibility standpoint, if you live nearby, they typically don't block anyone's view. So, you know, there's a lot of good things, and, you know, one of the best things is it does create a couple hundred jobs when we go in to build these projects. And so and we really focus on trying to hire as many local people as we possibly can. But we also like to be a really good environmental steward. That has been a big focus of how we view ourselves. You know, for example, down at our Turkey Point plant in Homestead, Florida, It straddles the Everglades National Park and Biscayne Bay. We actually have been credited with bringing the American crocodile out of extinction because our cooling canals there are the perfect temperature for crocodile nests. And we have a full-time biologist who monitors and protects that area. And we have really seen a wonderful, crocodile ecosystem established there. Also at our St. Lucie plant, which is on the beach up in St. Lucie County, our canal system, sometimes it draws in turtles that are already injured because they don't have the strength. And we have a turtle program there where we rescue the turtles and then we take them down to the Loggerhead Marine Life Center where they are rehabbed and set free. So pretty much with every project, Riviera Beach, one of the modernizations that you saw there, we incorporated an eco-discovery center there because manatees like to congregate where the warm water outflows. So if you're ever in Palm Beach County on a cold day, you're going to see maybe 100 to 500 manatee hanging out at what we call the spa because they love the warm water. So we really try to find ways to partner and support our environment. And the exciting thing that we've done with our solar projects is we've entered into a very formal partnership with Audubon, Florida. And this is designed to not just protect our bird sanctuaries, but to actually enhance our sites, to provide a safe haven for birds that they'll want to come there and find it a good place to be. And so we work with them to design our sites where we're going to locate things, working around the wetland areas that draw the birds. So that has been a very exciting partnership, and they're involved with every single one of our projects. And so now I want to talk about the one that's going to hopefully impact Clay County in a positive way. I wanted to talk about our Magnolia Springs Energy Center. And this is a project that we have in process. It is not yet approved. We've started and we've been successful so far as we go through the process. To give you an overview of where it's located, it's just west of State Road 17. That red line is our transmission line. And we like to find sites as close to our transmission lines as possible so we don't have to build additional lines. So we abut that, which is very beneficial. It's about 850 acres, but the 75 megawatt site, the 75 megawatt project will take up about 400 to 425 acres. And we're very excited. And when we go into communities, we like to identify and we like to become part of the community. So we did a little research on what should we name this particular project. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the old historic Magnolia Springs Hotel. Apparently it burned down many years ago. But what we learned about it was very innovative in its day. It was where they had one of the first telegraphs. And it was actually one of the first hotels that had electric lights. In fact, Thomas Edison himself came and tested the lights. So we thought it was very appropriate that this project be called Magnolia Springs. So if we get the approvals that we need, we hope that this project will come online and be working for residents of Clay County and all of our customers by 2020. Here's just an overlay of what we hope it will look like. And just like the other projects, we expect that there will be 200 jobs that we will need to hire during the year-long construction process. And what we've seen in every single one of these projects that we've built around the state is that there's usually about a 25% boost in the local economy. They're using the restaurants, they actually use the hotels, the families may move there temporarily. Although we really focus on hiring a lot of local people, we still have to bring a lot of other contractors in at the same time. So, there's a lot of good that happens from these projects, not to mention a good boost to the tax base. So we hope that those are some good things that we can bring to this county. We're very excited about this project. And I hope that just giving you a little bit of a peek into what our company's thinking will give you some insight on what we hope for the future for our customers that are here in Clay County and elsewhere. And one thing I can commit to you is that we as a company and all of us here today, we will always be looking forward for finding ways to do what we do today even better. That will be a benefit for all of our customers. So thanks for listening to me, and I am available for any questions if anybody has any. Thank you. question is, what other parts of the country are we involved in? So NextEra Energy Resources operates in 33 states. So we are very active. Some of those, the biggest states are Texas. We have a very big wind portfolio in Texas. California, we have a big wind portfolio out there. We're doing a lot of solar in the Southwest, in New Mexico, Arizona, Southwest California. We have a pipeline business, a natural gas pipeline business based in Houston. And we do have some assets in the north. We have some solar, believe it or not, in New Jersey. And we have some wind assets in Pennsylvania, 33 states, basically. A lot of wind in North and South Dakota. So you can go on our website and it will show you places where we actually have assets.
I got a question that's always bugged me. We have many hurricanes in Florida and ice storms up north. It's always amazed me that we don't put more of our power lines underground. So any plans to underground that level of service?
Yes, that is something we have spent a lot of time looking at, because Florida law has never permitted utilities to underground because it's a cost that affects all customers for the benefit of those right there. So that's been the rule, whether you agree with it or not. But what we recognized even back in 2004 and 5 is that there are some benefits to undergrounding, particularly in certain areas like coastal properties. Keeping in mind that undergrounding isn't the silver bullet. Those up in North Carolina right now, the underground lines actually are going to be more problematic when there's flooding. However, in windstorms like Irma, for the most part, those that were undergrounded fared much better. So there's no silver bullet. But with that said, there are definitely particularly certain areas that would greatly benefit from undergrounding. So one of the things we did 10 years ago is we asked the Public Service Commission to approve a discount where the company pays for 25% of the cost. So that has worked over the years. But after Irma, we also saw that some of our slowest restoration had to do with the laterals, right there at the lower level. And so we are really looking at, and we're actually doing some testing of what that would look like. So yes, we are exploring different options. Obviously, anything we do will have to be approved by the Public Service Commission, but we're trying to offer some real solutions. It's not something that'll happen in a year, but we think that we should be thinking that way. Thank you so much for having me. Enjoyed being here.